सर्वेभ्यो नमो नमः। यथा वयं जानीमः, जैसा कि हम सब जानते हैं कि एक साप्ताहिक ऑनलाइन राष्ट्रीय विकास कार्यक्रम का आयोजन, जिसकी मुख्य थीम है भारतीय दर्शन एवं मनोविज्ञान राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति 2020 के संदर्भ में। इसका आज प्रथम दिवस है और प्रथम दिवस के तृतीय सत्र में आप सभी का पुनः एक बार हार्दिक स्वागत है, अभिनंदन है, वंदन है। और इस तृतीय सत्र में हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं ऐसी महान हस्ती जिनका परिचय कराना ही इतना कठिन है कि अगर हम परिचय कराएंगे तो लगभग एक दिन बीत जाएगा। ऐसे सुप्रसिद्ध डॉक्टर टीपी शशिकुमार महोदय, जो पूजनीय प्रातः स्मरणीय हैं, ऐसे महान विभूति के दर्शन पाने से ही हम सभी कृतार्थ हो गए हैं। और सर, आपका हमारे विश्वविद्यालय परिसर में, हमारे शिक्षण अधिगम केंद्र में हार्दिक स्वागत है।
It's a prestige for people like me to be part of a one-week national faculty development program, that too in the first day. I was attending the morning session, little bit here and there to understand how it is going, and I was so happy to listen to the great lecture by the Hindi Pandit from Delhi University. The topic is on Indian philosophy and psychology. Makes me to speak, and what I did as soon as I became director of academic staff colleges, coming to Delhi at JNU. And there is a Center for Consortium for Educational Communication. I attended 3 weeks of videography and how to make the classroom into digital. It was in 2005. Almost 17 years back. It was a 1-month program, and after the 1-month program I authored a book which RG did not mention, and this book is what makes me a speaker today. Probably 17 years back, when I wanted people to come on multimedia teaching, on online teaching, teachers were not ready. But today, Professor COVID made all of us to become part of this, right? So these books are irrelevant. So what I believe, books are not relevant in this world. Because books cannot make. I was director of academic staff college. I made people to make PowerPoint and present, and Hindi people found it very difficult because font was not on the typing machine. I used to stay with them until late night, 2 o'clock, so that tomorrow morning they will make their presentation. I had tough time, but today everybody is using it. So what is learning? Learning is experiential learning. So I wrote this adaptive. How do you get adapted to the teaching learning methodology? Probably one of the greatest quote which I wrote in my book Life Made Simple is on Madan Mohan Malaviya. There is a mention in that book. When Madan Mohan Malaviya ji came to Hyderabad, we had a Nizam. Why did Madan Mohan Malaviya came to Hyderabad? To collect money for the anybody who can guess? Because this is being organized by Madan Mohan Malaviya's name, one institute under his name, right? So it's relevant to tell the story of Madan Mohan Malaviya. It's there in my book. You can download this book. All my books are free. Go to my website, Dr. TPS download. And it's a very special book. It's the only book in the world where social communication on social network is made into a book. It was from Orkut, philosophical discussions on Orkut, when I was in Delhi. I published this book when I was in Delhi. Madan Mohan Malaviya wanted to have anybody? Varanasi, there is a big university. Which is that university? One of the oldest universities in India.
BHU.
Kashi?
Kashi BHU.
Yeah, what is the full form of BHU? I want that.
Banaras Hindu University.
Banaras Hindu
Vishwavidyalaya. Banaras Hindu Vishwavidyalaya.
Why that word Hindu has come? Does it mean that Banaras Hindu University is teaching Hinduism?
No, that.
I went to Banaras Hindu University in 1985 and the conference was on fluid mechanics. My PhD doctorate is in fluid mechanics. I'm a fluid mechanics man. Mathematician turned into a fluid mechanics man. Heat transfer is my subject. And the conference was in Banaras Hindu University. I stayed there 10 days. I was studying the history of Banaras Hindu University. And I found that Madan Mohan Malaviya wanted to this Hindu university with the name Hindu. Understand? It's very, very, everyone should remember Kashi, Varanasi is the only place where the name of the city is not changed into Abad. Otherwise, Muzaffarabad, Islamabad, Hyderabad, Secunderabad, Allahabad, everything, every old city became Abad, 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 Abad. That is because after Muslim invasion, city names have been changed. But Varanasi could not change because that was a strong Hindu community staying there. And Madan Mohan Malaviya wanted fund for making that university. He came to meet Nizam. You can imagine one of the most powerful Muslim ruler during that time was in Hyderabad. And when India got independence, Hyderabad's Nizam said, we want to be part of Pakistan in the center of India. We will not join with India. You must read the political history. And it is a great diplomacy of those leaders made, trapped actually Nizam to sign the agreement to become part of India. He was a strong Muslim person. He said, change the name into Banaras University, remove the Hindu name, I will give you fund. I will sponsor the whole university. Change the name. Madan Mohan Malaviya said, I am not going to change the name, but I will collect fund from you and then only go from Hyderabad. Can you imagine Madan Mohan Malaviya's strength of telling this? That too in front of a king in his palace. There was a big argument, whether it's a story of or nice thing, but this I quoted in this book to give strength to people to understand how powerful one has to be to become a leader. And you know what is that he said? The arguments went on. Nizam got angry. He took his footwear and then thrown in to Madan Mohan Malaviya. Madan Mohan Malaviya got the chappal in his hand, footwear in his hand and said, I got the money. Because Nizam's footwear has got lot of jewels. Can you imagine? And then what he did, he took that, went to Charminar and said, Nizam did not have money to pay for the university donation, so he gifted one footwear and I am auctioning it because I want the money. Don't you think the richest of the richest people will come and buy the footwear? Nizam, what he will do with the another pair? So Nizam had sent people to buy it in some, whatever money you want to pay it, get me the footwear back. And he got maximum collection. This is what is the presence of mind and logical reasoning. I'll tell you, I am giving you this story to tell that India had the greatest wisdom, greatest knowledge, so practical. Every curse, every problem which comes in front of you can be turned into opportunities. Do you think this is what you are giving to your children in classrooms? Whatever education you give is useless if they don't have presence of mind, logical reasoning, analytical skill, mathematical ability, data analysis, communication skill. My last tenure was as a mathematics professor in one of the universities here, in a private university, and I was teaching a paper, and the paper is called Campus to Corporate. How do you make children to become eligible to go to corporate jobs? And these are all the different aspects I was teaching them. English communication, logical reasoning, analytical skill, mathematical ability. Do we have a logic today or not? Or do we teach people, learn this? And children have no voice to ask, why should I learn this? Do you allow your children to ask this question? Why should I learn this? That is logic. Do you think that is something new which came into NEP? Yukti yuktam upadeyam vachanam balakadabi anyatranam avatyajyam apyuktam brahmakadabi. Ask a question. Without logic, don't allow anybody to speak. Morning, I kept on listening to the lecture, quoting one sloka, which is the last sloka which I quoted. Who was the morning session was by whom? I have it here, but I want
Professor Chan.
Yeah, organizers remember, but I want to know whether the participants remember the name or not. I also have that schedule with me.
Yes, sir. Professor Chan Kiran Saluja.
And you know, one of the sloka which he was quoting was the last sloka in this book. What was that sloka? Anybody? He quoted maximum number of times. Anyone?
Sir, I don't know the shlok, but I know he was saying something about Gita's sthit pragya related with the.
That was one. That was one. Another one.
Okay.
I think all of you should have one habit of note taking and note making. Keep on writing so that you don't forget. One line is good enough so that you can refer it back. Otherwise, you will forget if you don't record it. I record my lectures. I've got a recorder here. I also have got a recorder camera there. I'm also grabbing the screen. I edit all this and post it onto YouTube. Because I believe my lecture is the most worthiest thing for me in my life. Got it? And
Yes,
I
sir.
create notes. And if you ask me any question, immediately refer to my notebook, which I learned from my guru probably 30 years back. I still keep that notebook as a reference. And that is my strength for giving lectures without a PowerPoint. But still I made a PowerPoint because Amitaji wanted a PowerPoint. Otherwise, I don't give PowerPoints. I only give powerful points. But when there is a rule, I should not violate. So immediately I made something and then dumped it and sent it. But I don't know whether I'm going to refer it, use it or not. But these notes are most powerful for me. You should have notes. I remember writing these notes, and which I referred in my book in the last one. No one is useless in this world. No one is useless in this world. What is that sloka?
Ayogya Purusha Nasti.
Wonderful. Now you got it. You see? Right? And what does it say? You must read this. This book is a wonderful book. You don't have to read it continuously. You can open any page random and then read it. This is 4th chapter, 11th point. No one is useless. That's the heading. And the sloka is Avandra Maksharam Nasti Nasti Mula Vanaushadam Ayogya Purusho Nasti Yojagaha Tatra Durlabaha. What is lacking today is the leadership quality, management quality of people. Everybody is useful. Each one of us are useful. But we don't have people who can connect them together. Put them in the right place. Give them the right job. That is lacking. How do you make this to happen? Understand people. What is their ability? Is it not what is the part of education system? It's a part of education system. You can understand Krishna is the one of the best example where he learned his basic young childhood lessons traveling, crossing 4 states. He did not study in the neighboring school. He crossed long distance to join a guru. And who are his classmates? Classmates of Sudama. Who is Sudama? Another name is Kuchela. What is Kuchela? Bad dressed fellow. Chela is dress. Ku is prefix for bad. So he had bad dress. What does it mean? He was from a poor family. Another one is from a palatial house. A rich man's son. And rich and poor people joined together, studied in same classroom. And what they did? They used to work in their field. Practical sessions. The relationship was so strong. So Krishna gives a beautiful example of how to become a good student. I can go on and on this. But I'm so happy When I am being called here for a lecture, I am so happy because here we have got teachers from all disciplines being attending, and teachers who are educators, and you are the part of the Lal Bahadur Shastri National Sanskrit University today with Madan Mohan Malavias. You can imagine the greatest of the greatest names. Understand what are the contributions which they did and what made them great. And when you talk about the personality and the attitude setting, that is the title which I gave. Do such people whose names are given in the center and given to the university, do they had a great attitude and personality and great knowledge which made them to stand? And we are still remembering them for that. Not that what qualification, what certificate, what degree, what chapter, what subject they studied. So what is important? The creating the character, forming a personality which will be useful for the society is what is the purpose of education. Look at whether that is happening today or not. Basic purpose of education is reading, writing, and doing arithmetics, and ability to memorize. And ask questions so that whatever knowledge you have, you can create extra questions from. Whatever knowledge you have, add some more knowledge by asking questions. But our classrooms are not such. But traditionally, you can see this was part of our education system because we had only 4 Vedas. But the number of Upanishads were plenty. We don't know how many are there or how many were there. What we have is only very less number in terms of, because every student created their own versions of their knowledge around Veda, which is called Upanishads. Upanishad, sit beside and ask questions. So what is the practical study which happened in India traditionally? Theory classes is Veda, and that also has got different portions. Rig Veda is only theory. Yajurveda is the practical. Yajurveda talks about rituals. My guru was a Rigvedi. So based on the text knowledge, doing practical is Yajurveda. And what is Samaveda? Samaveda is marketing, management, popularizing, going around. That is why you have got go around the city and then popularize. There is a yaga happening. Everybody should go and attend. That job was given to Samaveda. That is why you can see Samaveda Shastrikal. Samaveda is singing process. Nice. Arati has given a beautiful invocation, but contextually it is in a wrong time. Because afternoon, you cannot expect Sri Rama sleeping at 3 o'clock. That is the call for waking up Sri Rama. Got it? So you must understand the meaning of that. What should be done? Ask question. Whether this, what context, where, how to use it, that is practicability. Every student had this question. And the students used to go beside the guru and ask questions and write their own versions of Upanishads. Is it happening today? Is it happening today? It has to happen. If I am giving a lecture for 1 hour, I should only speak half an hour. I intended to stop. Why should I give a lecture? Because you don't know who is this Dr. GPS. And if at all a good student who is supposed to, you should have got the schedule, what is to be done. Immediately you should go and look at who is this person. Let me listen. Every day do research on the person who is coming to. Today you are not done. Forget about it. Tomorrow onwards do it. Look at the internet. Let me prepare questions so that I can ask him. Don't allow the speakers to speak. Just before the session, you know, I do a lot of funny things in my telephone. Just now I got from Bajaj, one nice girl was talking to me saying, do you want a personal loan? Generally you get such, I don't just leave my time. I was waiting for this lecture. How I enjoyed that 5 minutes, I will tell you. And I said, yes, who doesn't want money in this world? No, we are giving personal loan. Wonderful, give me money. Are you Dr. Kumar? Yes, I am Dr. Kumar, I said. Is it your telephone number? You are calling me and asking me my name. Why are you checking it? Now tell me how much money you can give. We can give you 70 lakhs. Wonderful. But do you know my age? I told him, bluffed, saying that I am 80 years old. And nobody at home. I am spending my time useless. I don't have anybody to speak. Nice girl talking to me is a wonderful time pass for me. Talk to me more. Immediately she disconnected. You understood? Sometimes what I do is I enjoy with them saying that, yes, I need money. How much is the percentage? What is the GDP happening? What is the inflation? I get a lot of knowledge. I work with the finance people. I work with the marketing, asking questions, whichever field, whoever is there. Assume tomorrow you meet somebody in, I was with Amitabh Bachchan in Muscat. I am the person who started Film Society in Muscat. Amitabh Bachchan and myself was together. I asked a lot of questions. But you should have seen Amitabh Bachchan's movie, then only you can ask questions. You cannot go and ask him, sir, aapka naam kya hai? No, you cannot ask him. When you meet Prime Minister, you can see my website, I am talking to Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. We had dinner every month. But when we speak to him, what do we ask him? You should ask him the world politics. Right? So you should have sufficient knowledge so that you can discuss with somebody in that level. That is very, very essential for you. So education is to make your standard from the lower level to the higher level. Whomever you want, you can dialogue. Communication is important. Vedas were part of that. So students could go to their teachers and ask a lot of questions. And out of those questions, they created a lot of books. Can you imagine? Is there any country in the world where students created questions more than the teachers created? That is what actual learning process. In the context of learning, this is how it should happen. The context of NEP, the personality is, I must have a personality which is not a Shudra's personality. Obeying somebody's order is not my personality should be with a lot of knowledge around me. Where I should have my head functioning perfectly and I should keep my shoulders strong. We had a great man who knew everything around India, and then he said, you want to know India, ask me questions. You can squeeze me and get India out of me. Who is that person? Anybody? Who understood India perfectly, and he told the rest of the world, if you want to know India, squeeze me, you will get India out of me. Swami Vivekananda. Actually, all people, including my boss, happened to be the National Education Policy Chairman, Kasturi Rangan. When I was part of ISRO, I was in headquarters when Kasturi Rangan was my boss. I don't know whether he has read Swami Vivekananda's book on India, My Eternal India. If any one of you did not read that book. I'll tell you 100 times, if you read, you don't understand what he is talking. I did not understand. And if at all somebody could understand, I am ready to become your student. Because that is such a concept, it is very hard to understand. And I don't think anybody can write a policy better than that. If somebody says which is the best policy in the world for education, and not everything, it's only second chapter, My India, the India, Eternal India, My India, the Eternal India. India Eternal by Swami Vivekananda. The first chapter is on My India, the India Eternal itself. Second chapter is the cause for downfall. Why India has lost its credit. From where? From this Vedic learning process to down. And in that, he says, the biggest problem is we have not become very good students. The another cause is monopoly of education. And people have been taught, but they are non-entities in the world. They lost their personality. And another reason is laziness. We made our students lazy because teachers do a lot of homework. Students don't do homework. I don't know how many of you have heard this sloka. Acharyat padamadate padam shishya swavedaya padam sa brahmajaribhya padam kalakramena cha. Anybody heard this? If I ask, where did you hear? When I go to general colleges, when I ask, they'll say, no, I've never heard it. I said, have you seen Three Idiots movie? This sloka is being quoted on the stage, on the podium by that, with a lot of mistakes inside. And everybody is laughing. You also laughed in the class without knowing the meaning. Actually, this is the sloka. Acharyat padamadate. From Acharyas, if at all, if some teacher is an Acharya, very rare to see Acharyas. Who is an Acharya? Yadyadajarati sreshta tattadevete rochana sayat pramanam gurude lokastadanu vartade. Who can be a practitioner, he can be a Acharya. Not blah blah blah. I must practice it. That is the difference between philosophy and psychology. Philosophy talks about value system. When you inculcate in your practice, you become that is your psychology, that's your attitude. And then somebody can assess you how a good person you are. Whether you are sticking to that philosophy, that value which you have learned. Otherwise, people say he's a nonsense fellow. No sense fellow. Right? Otherwise, you have sense. That is what is required. I'm a psychotherapist. My MS is in psychotherapy and counseling. So what do? We understand people, the way they speak, the way they behave. Why? Because you have to be an Acharya. Oh, I want to be his student. Go behind him. That's how people went behind him. I went behind my gurus. Swami Vivekananda went behind Ramakrishna like that. And what did he say? I know India. How many of us can say, I know India? I was part of Vivekananda Institute for Human Excellence in Hyderabad. Taught the 12 years. Morning and evening. 2 hours. Morning I will go to there. Teach there 2 hours. Then come to office. Evening after office, go there and teach 2 hours. Great opportunity. And that's how you have to understand Vivekananda. You listen to Dr. TPS Vivekananda. You can see some lectures. I don't want to explain what he did. So he had a great vision on education. And that vision of education was based on Bharatiya Vedic. And you know what, he was a great Veda knowledge person, and he propagated Indian knowledge into America. I went to the ashram in America, close to New York. I went to the first Vedantic society in America. He told the world that we had such a great wisdom in India which needs to be spread. You have to be a propagator of knowledge from India to the rest of the world. He could attract all the people, right? So this is what is essential. You have to become a strong person who understands, who can learn, so that you can perform well in your life. Performance P is equal to attitude A plus skill plus environment. This is Dr. DPS formula. Performance P is equal to attitude A plus skill plus environment. We are giving skill, but we are not talking about the environment in which the skill has to be progressed. The external world is not understood by students when they are becoming students in the world. We are not allowing them to go out and understand the world. Internal attitude is also lost. The internal attitude is lost, environment outside is also not understood. And you are giving them skill, supportive process, that becomes useless. And you know what is the ultimate result of this? People become depressed. Because I have skill, I don't know where to use it. I know mathematics, but I don't know where to use it. I don't know Sanskrit, but I don't know where to use it. I know Sanskrit, but I don't know how to make it. See, I get a lot of messages. I'm a student of philosophy, doing PhD, but I don't know what to do in my life. You have been taken through some path and then you don't know where to go from there. Your nature, behavior, growth, values, role and goal in the society has to be understood with a mix of the whole quality which you have, Rajasic, Sattvic, Tamasic, with all the Ayurveda concept of Vata, Pitta, Kapha, which is the component of the food what you eat, with all the 5 elements around you which creates that food for you, and all the Indriyas should function perfectly well. So that your Purushartha, the Kama, Artha, Dharma, Moksha can become perfect, and therefore you become a person who stand by the Sanatana Dharma, which has got two portions. One is Ishta Karma and Purta Karma. Ishtade labade surgam purte moksham avapniyat. The Ishta Karma give you an internal self-discipline, and Purta Karma is for the environmental concept. And that environmental concept is the external world. Both were part of our Sanatana Dharma. Culminating these two was Ishtade labade surgam purte moksham avapniyat. When you interact with the society, you can become happy. Ishtade labade surgam. Internalized happiness, blissfulness will come because you are internal by yourself. That is what is the science. The attitude has to be inside, and your performance should become outside. Both savidya and avidya. Materialistic world is required. Development is part of this world. Otherwise, you cannot be a human being. And what skill is important to get you a job? What skill is important to get you an opportunity? What skill is required for making you money? It's also essential. But understanding that will come from the internal ability. That is what is Sanatana Dharma. Is it not a practical learning lesson which is part of any education policy? Well, let it be Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan's policy soon after the independence or 2020 NEP. I don't see any difference. So in the context of different system, it doesn't change. But implementation level, it is getting deteriorated. Why? Because teachers are not taking that into their blood and the muscles and the feelings. That's what Vivekananda said. Take it in your feelings and you become part of it. Then I'm sure you will become the real good teachers who can take this message. Education policy has to be understood in the attitude setting of the teachers. You are having the responsibility of taking the children to give them the best personality. I did a beautiful program in Kerala. Navigation of the mentoring program. How do teachers can be converted into mentors? Navigating the mentors program. How do teachers can become mentors who can become guide for generating manpower which are going to be useful for keeping this nation great in the world, not finding fault with this world. How do you make them part of this nationalized human being? Even before national education, I think I did it in 2017-18. Because Adhyapanam Brahma Yatnaha, Adhyapanam comes from the Brahma Yatna. You have to be a creative person. Seeing the teachers, students should feel, I should also become a teacher like him or her. Because it's a Brahma Karma. What is Brahma Karma? Creative process. Not copying and talking in the classroom. That students can also read from the textbook. How do you become a great innovative teachers? Hridaya Guhana Madhye Kevalam Brahma Matram. Inside your Hridaya there has to be Brahma, creativity. So that the education, Brahma's wife Saraswati will become part of your dissemination of knowledge. That is what is required. Panchamahayatna, Adhyapanam Brahma Yatnaha, Pidru Yatnastu Tarpanam, Homo, Devo, Belir, Budo, Nuryatnam Aditi Pujanam. Making somebody else become part of your daily routine. The society is more important. Being a social being was part of our ritual. Is it not there in the setting of the attitude? Love your friends, love your enemies. So that Shatru Buddhir Vinashaya, your Shatru, your enemies' brain will become close to you. That means they will be converted as your friend. Nuriyatno Aditi Pujanam. Do puja to them, those who are coming to your house unexpectedly. You don't expect them. Even you, anybody can come. And love all the other human beings, environmental concept. Belir Budo. Buddha means any other animal which are not Martya. Who is Martya? Martya is one name for human being. Why human being has got the name Martya? Because we have got Mrityu Bhayam. Every animal also has Mrityu, but don't have Mrityu Bhayam. Because of the Bhayam, what you will do, you will start loving your life totally. When you love your life totally, you also love somebody's life. That is what is the attitude setting in the society. You become a social being, you be a human being. What a great concept is this. If it is not there for the rulers, politicians, the world is going to end. How did you know this? This is why our Itihasa Puranas explained philosophically in stories. The first greatest philosophical book, the first greatest psychological book is Ramayana. When Rama, after class 12th, when he passed his intermediate, he becomes psychologically sick. He said, I don't think my father is a great knowledgeable person because I am seeing people are suffering in the country. Dasharatha, he has got 10 vehicles. He's a very rich king, but people are not happy in his kingdom. They're all suffering. That's what Rama identified after +2 class, before going to graduation. The father Dasharatha understood there is something wrong with this boy. The teenage problem is there. Every teenage and all adolescents have this problem because they disrespect their parents. They will talk against their parents. Naturally, that's what is happening today also. So what was the solution? He was sent to Vasishtha. That time Dr. Vasishtha, first psychotherapist in the world. I keep saying I belong to Vasishtha's lineage. I'm also a psychotherapist. And what was done? Vasishtha gave 18 days of lecture. And that book is called Yoga Vasishtha. And what is Yoga Vasishtha? Very simple. I can finish it in one sloka. That is the beauty of our Puranas. You want that to be finished in one sloka, you can do it. You want to finish it in one life, you can keep on giving lectures. I don't know whether I don't have that ability, but I can give in one lecture. One sloka I can finish. I was lucky to be in Fiji for giving a Ramayana lecture long back as part of Government of India when 17 countries were participating. I only coined this sloka. Everybody was wondering, Yoga Vasishtha was Ramayana? Because they only know the other Ramayanas where Vasishtha is not a part of it. Lagu Vasishtyam and Dirgha Vasishtha. There are beautiful Vasishtha slokas which are put into condensed version and an expanded version also. And what is that? Purne manasi sampurnam jagat sarvam sudhadravaihi upana godapadasya nanu charmastrutai babu. By chance, if I happens to be in Delhi and I maybe by mistake Amitaji calls me in her institute for a lecture, but I will tell as soon as I get down from my vehicle, don't worry, you don't have to give me vehicle, somebody will give me vehicle. But from the vehicle to your lecture hall, I will walk only on leather carpets. I'm sure Amitaji will say, Namaskaram, thank you, I don't want you here. I cannot afford putting leather carpet in the place wherever you are walking. Is it possible? Wherever I walk on this earth, I want leather carpet. Is it possible or not? You know what Vasishtha said? Simply it is possible because you wear a leather footwear. That's enough. Purna Manas is, hey Rama, why are you unhappy? Because you are unhappy internally. If you are internally happy, wherever you go, you will see happiness. Is it a better psychology than any psychology in the world or not? What a great psychology textbook is this. You want happiness, carry happiness inside you. Right? This is one of the greatest lessons where Rama was treated by Vasishtha for his, a god was treated, I don't use the word god, but for the common purpose. Ishvara, Bhagavan, Murti, Sankalpa is treated having psychological problems, and a doctor is treating such a great person. The problems can be for anyone. Identifying the problem and solving is important. You know that today is the biggest problem in the children. They commit suicide for the next day. Small problem, committing suicide. What a stupid life is this? I remember when I went to one of the medical colleges, I told some story like this. Night I got a call, 11 o'clock. I am going to commit suicide, Dr. GPS. I said, wonderful, but don't do it now. Because if you do it now, I will be caught because your last call is for me. Why are you disturbing me? I never did any harm to you. You call after talking to 10-15 people. Are you joking? No, I am not joking. I know anybody who is going to commit suicide is never going to tell somebody else they are committing suicide. You don't want to commit suicide. You want a reason. You want some help for escaping from your problem. You tell me what is your problem. I'm going to fail in tomorrow's exam. I said, don't worry. I'm a person who failed in many exams in my life. After some time, you can become better. Doesn't matter. Exam is not a big problem. You fail, still you can do better. We have great examples. We have Karna who has been thrown out of his guru. He became a great king. Immediately politicians will come and pick you up and then give you positions. Is it not happening today? Is it something new which is happening in the world? That is what happened in the Mahabharata. So what is happening in the Mahabharata? What happened in the Mahabharata? What was there in Ramayana? You can see around your world today. So we have great lessons from Indian traditional knowledge which can be implemented even today. Veda to Upanishad to Gita, all that talks about similar lessons. And when all that was told in Bhagavad Gita by Krishna to Arjuna, Arjuna could not understand anything. He said, I am not able to follow anything, but you tell me I am going to fight. That's the last sloka, 18th chapter, 66th sloka. For want of time, I am not chanting it. Sarva dharman parityajya, mamegam sharanam vraja. You surrender to me and fight. That's what he says. Who is that you? Your intention, your desire, your passion, your creativity inside. You decide what you wanted to do. But after the war is over, again Krishna met Arjuna and then there was a dialogue. Not just Gita. That dialogue is called Uttara Gita, in which Bhagavan says, Ananda Shastram Bahu Vedidavyam Alpascha Kare Bahuvascha Vigno El Sara Bhudam Tadubadis Davyam. What is it? Hamso Yatha Kshira Vivampu Misram. You should consume knowledge in such a fashion as milk from water is consumed. Milk from water is consumed by Hamsa. You must know where to search for knowledge. But a great knowledge is this. You don't get confused with a lot of data. You must know how to Google so that you can get what you really require. It's from Krishna to Arjuna. A teacher is telling a student. Bhagavad Gita, if you look at it, you can see a lot of such examples. And Bhagavad Gita is not made by Krishna. It is made by Arjuna with a lot of questions. As many number of questions are asked, Krishna could give answers. And those answers are what is seen in whole Bhagavad Gita. So what is essentially required for each one of us to understand? What questions are to be asked so that you can get actual answers which are required for your life. And how do you get this? That will come only when you have no too much fluctuation around the small issues in this world. That is what is Sthita Prajna. And what is Arjuna asking? That is what today's communication skill. How do you speak like a Sthita Prajna? Though you are not that. How do you speak like a communication skill is given more importance, though you are not actually Sthita Prajna. Arjuna is also asking that question. But Krishna is not giving communication skill class. Krishna is cleaning him so that he will become a good communicator later. Not 7 tips to become a good communicator, not that. Got it? Because the question was, Sthita Prajna se kya bhasha? How do a Sthita Prajna will speak? The answer was, Dukkeshwara Diknamana Sukheshu Vigata Spruha Vida Raga Bhaya Krodha Sthita Vir Munirichade. You should have that quality inside you so that you can become that. Your personality is not what is masked, it is different aspects which you have. Buddhi, Jnanam, Sthirata, Satyam, Dhanam, Dharmam, all that good qualities. You can see chapter 12th, I think, or 10th chapter. 12th chapter. You can see 10th chapter, 12th chapter, 13th chapter. 13th chapter, 8 to 12th slokas will describe all the qualities which you require to become a great personality in this world. Right? Then you control your indriyas? No. Allow it to go the way you want. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. A silent person to be in this world to deal things with more maturity. The first, Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Vishadam itself is a yoga. And what is being taught? The whole Mahabharata. For what? Bhagavad Gita. For what? That violent Arjuna become a silent Arjuna. Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. In this book you can see one question, one answer is Bhagavad Gita. In my book on life of love, I don't have the copy here, in which I wrote the points here, in which I have written arrow from shadow. One Janma you throw one arrow, which Rama did, in the next Janma it will come back to you. Arrow from shadow. What you do today will come back to you tomorrow. That's what Arjuna is being taught by Krishna in Mahabharata during the Bhagavad Gita lessons. Where did he got it? Rama got these lessons in his life from Vasishtha. So Vasishtha gave lessons to Rama and Krishna gave that to Arjuna. That is what we are all doing. I learned from my guru and I am searching for some good student who will understand and learn very concentrated so that I will become a moksha Vikshu in this world. Very hard to get good children in this world, I'll tell you. I was blessed to be one of the best students for my guru. And he is only having one, Brahmashri KPC Anijan Bhattadharipad. I was blessed to be the student of Swami Rama's disciple, Swami Vedabharati, Mahamandaleshwar Swami Vedabharati on silence. So what I learned is silence. But in this life, you need that to be given to somebody else before your death. Because what will happen? The last moment you think about it, and that gives you happiness. Oh, then that will give you peace of mind. That is what is essential. Otherwise, what will happen? My son also will burn me on the firewood one day after my death, and he will chant one mantra. I am going to fire you. My father, what did you do in your life? Learned so much, but you are not given this to anybody else. You have to give this. That is what exactly is done by Shiva to Parashurama. He has to find the right person to give the knowledge. So our classrooms needs to be finding the right personality. What is hunt for a teacher? Hunt for a teacher is not what I should teach. Hunt for a teacher is to find out whom should I teach. And a teacher will become a teacher only when he has got sufficient, she has got sufficient knowledge. And that will come with dhyanam. That's what is dhyana yoga, which was the core lesson which probably must have instigated Swami Vivekananda. The mental attitude, what is in you will tell you what sort of a person you have. So attitude setting for a personality. That's what Vivekananda. And he said education is that purpose of man making. You go through Vivekananda's quotes. I can pick up sloka by sloka. This can be 6th chapter, 5th sloka. I have to refer. Yeah, 6th chapter, 5th sloka. I think that will tell you Swami Vivekananda made this attitude shifting is essential to make people, yeah. 6th chapter, 5th sloka. Make you to become the core disciple for creating your life so potential. And then what will happen to you? And uddhared atmanatmanam. You will raise your atma, the manas, superficial manas, uddhared atmanatmanam, atmanam avasadhet, atmaiva hyatmano bandhu, atmaiva ripuratmana. You will not have conflict inside you. When you raise your atma to the buddhi and the manas and the buddhi, mana, the feeling and the logical reasoning to such a level where it will club with your atma so that whatever is being told is from the atma. Uddhared atmanatmanam, atmanam avasadayat, atmaiva hyatmano bandhu, atmaiva ripuratmana. That will become your life. Who told this? This is what Krishna taught Arjuna. Raise your thoughts into higher thoughts with totally logical so that your dealings with the society will become practical and the value system which you have will become so strong. Karmanye vadigaraste ma phaleshu kadhajana You don't have to think about what benefit you are going to get. The benefit is not for you, it is for the society. Second chapter, 47th sloka. It is good enough. Sankhya Yoga, second chapter, if you learn, you can understand what Vivekananda told. Education is for man making. Education is for man making. One simple definition. So that you are dealing with the society is what is exactly essential for you, and this will create a person to get culmination of all the knowledge. Not enough. You must give that safely to somebody else. Create a lot of wealth, give that to somebody else for a better purpose. Your fame, your whatever three things which you gain, fame, knowledge, and the money, wealth, has to be distributed for a good purpose. Ananyaschintayanto mam yejana paryupasade tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam mahamyaham. To such people I will give you salvation. God, Bhagavan, Ishwar, Murti, Krishna, he is guaranteeing every one of us, I will give you happiness, blissfulness, only when you do this for the common purpose. Ananyaschintayanto, totally focus. If you don't focus, you will not get. How many times you will try this? Abhyasena tu kaunteya. Keep on practicing, then you will get it. This is what the Bhagavad Gita says. So, totally focused, that is your attitude. You get into the life which will serve the society, so that you can serve dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja, surrender to the society. Then mokshayishyami mashucha. Mashucha, you will not be sad. Bhagavad Gita starts in the second chapter, 7th sloka, ends in 18th chapter, 66th sloka, not in the first chapter, first sloka. Ashochananya shochastum, don't be sad. What is the end? Mashucha, don't be sad. So what is the best attitude and what is the best personality? Don't be sad. Be in bliss. Be happy. And that happiness gives you lot of enjoyment. That is what is required. I can go on and on, but I think I'm reaching 1 hour. I'll be very glad to get a lot of questions. I'm so happy the schedule is such, knowingly or unknowingly, I don't like to be the first lecturer. I like to be the last, so that we get some time to discuss, so that you will carry this message while going. And by thinking, okay, here going is not there. Generally in the classrooms also allow the last class. People will ask, why do you want last class? So that they will carry that. The rest of the things they will forget. Correct. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for a very thought-provoking session.